My parents were forcing me to marry a corpse and spend my wedding night with it inside a coffin. I didn't refuse, in fact, I was beaming. Because the body wasn't only jade-browed and heart-stoppingly handsome, he was the sovereign of all eldritch kind. In 7 days he would awaken and become the ruler of this world. When that moment arrived, he would drop to one knee and call me my lady wife. When I had been reborn. Before my rebirth, my parents offered me to a hideous eldritch who delighted in torturing young girls, claiming my sacrifice would keep the family safe. I fought with everything I had. But my scumbag brother knocked me out cold and delivered me to the monster that very night. In my half-conscious days I caught his fawning voice, "Great Lord Eldritch, do with this cheap woman as you please. She's eaten 18 years' worth of our food, about time she paid us back." Those words shattered my heart. Ever since we were kids, that animal had bullied me, snatching my toys when we were small, stealing my living money once we grew older. I endured it all because Mom and Dad kept saying, "Family is family, no matter what." Never had I imagined that, in his eyes, I wasn't kin at all, just a loss-making item that could be discarded any time. The eldritch was savage, it loved the sound of a woman's anguished scream. It subjected me to 108 forms of torture. I held countless days and nights until my voice cracked and vanished. Then it imprisoned me in a lightless space where no sun ever shone, until, broken, I died choking on my hatred. Heaven took pity on me and granted rebirth. This life, I will not cling to the joke called family. I will personally drag that beast of a brother into hell. Terrible news, something awful's happened. A panicked shout rang outside. The whole village stirred. Neighbor Davis lumbered out, cursing, "What's all the screaming? Haven't died yet, have we? If not, you'll scare us into our graves anyway." A skinny youth pulled up, gasping. "It's true, someone's dead, all right." A coffin showed up at the crossroads, no idea whose it is. I stood behind my parents, face calm, curiosity absent. Only I knew it was the coffin of the Eldritch King, Adrian. Last time round, for a bit of cash, Mom and Dad forced me to wed the corpse. I couldn't bear it and fled on the wedding night. Before I ran, I knelt by the coffin and poured out my grievances over their favoritism and my wretched life. Perhaps out of pity, a jade amulet drifted from the lid. When the apocalypse arrived, I learned it was Adrian's Jordan gift. It once sheltered my family and me through a disaster. In the end, my vicious kin still murdered me, wasting his kindness. I lift my gaze toward the crossroads. This time I will hug Adrian's thick, cold thigh without shame and survive the coming ruin. Willie, still catching his breath, waved the crowd over. The entire village poured out and marched toward the coffin in a buzzing swarm. The casket was carved from flawless white jade, golden dragons coiling across its surface, breathtakingly magnificent. At the sight, eyes around me ignited with greed. 2 jade fetches a fortune, and a block this size would be priceless. Davis rolled her eyes and announced, "A coffin parked at the crossroads brings bad luck. My plot out back is lying fallow, let's bury it there." Everyone with a brain knew what she was scheming, claimed the heavenly windfall for herself. Instant protests erupted. "No way. Why should you take the loss? My field is bigger, leave it to me." Chaos reigned until Mayor strolled up, pipe clamped between his fingers. "All right, shut it." His aged voice carried weight enough to still the quarrel. Mayor's cloudy eyes slid left and right. "We don't even know if anyone's inside. Why fight over air? Open it first, see what's in there, then decide." Open the coffin? I suppressed a smirk, they still courted death like clockwork. I offered fuel instead of a fire extinguisher. That's right. I read highborn Ansels stuffed their tombs with priceless grave goods. The instant I spoke, heads nodded. Morgan's a college kid, well informed, gotta trust her. Back in high school I'd aced every exam and won admission to a top university. My parents refused to pay another cent for tuition. I waitressed nights, took loans, still scraped by. Even then, my bastard brother demanded my monthly living money. If I balked, fists followed, plus threats to toss me out. Remembering it now, rage blazes, the beast will be repaid in full. My words fanned the flames, avarice thickened in every gaze, even staid mayor's eyes gleamed. Coffin lid looks heavy. We'll pick 4 strong lads. I'll pay each $1,000. If treasure's inside, they get first pick of 1 item. The crowd erupted. Everyone clamored to muscle in, even 80-year-old old thumping his chest, swearing he was as brawny as any youth. I watched coldly. They scrambled to die. Disturb Adrian's slumber and you crawl away skinned, if at all. I must maneuver my scumbag brother Emery onto the team, letting Adrian's awakening avenge me. 3 Acting on the thought, I called out, opening a coffin is no picnic. I heard nobles rigged booby traps inside to stop robbers. Trip 1 and your mincemeat. Mayor shot me a glare, puffing his pipe in silence. The villagers exchanged glances, with the old man mute, their fervor cooled. I leaned in close to Emery's sleeve and whispered, bro, I'm only bluffing them. This coffin is flawless white jade, whoever lies inside must have been spotless. He'd never waste time on petty tricks. My brother Emery's nothing but a dropout thug. He quit middle school, never reads, never learns, just drifts. In front of outsiders he folds like wet cardboard, at home he struts like a rooster. His trademark blend is stupid plus vicious, utterly brainless. My flattery hooked him at once. Still wary, he muttered, you telling the truth? If you find out I lied, you can sell me to some city club, I said, letting my body shudder. I wouldn't dare. I swear every word is real. Beside my family, Adrian truly is the noble one. Emery nodded, pleased. Smart girl. He shoved through the crowd. Step aside, step aside. You're all scared? Watch me. Every eye homed in on him, he loved it, chest puffed like a balloon. Mom spotted him and rounded on me. What are you doing? How could you let your brother risk something that dangerous? Dad snorted. Girls useless when it counts. Their barbs stung, but I clenched my fists. I've come back dark-minded, not setting traps for them is already my moral bottom line. With Emery the fool leading, 4 volunteers soon stepped up. They stationed themselves around the coffin, fingers groping for seams to pry the lid. The instant they touched the jade, every one of them jolted as if struck by lightning, then crumpled, unconscious. The villagers shrieked and scrambled back, even the mayor stumbled several paces. When the clamor settled, they babbled in terror. That coffin's pure evil. Who knows what kind of demon's inside? Mom's face went white. She seized my arm. You little wretch, did you set your brother up? If anything happens to him, you won't live to cry about it. Dad's glare was silent, but the chill coming off him could freeze blood. I hung my head, trembling. I didn't mean it, Mom, Dad. You'd better carry Emery home, saving him comes first. While they looked away, the corners of my mouth curled up. Dad gave a cold grunt and took 2 steps forward, then stopped, eyeing me. What if there's another trap? Mom chimed in, right. You're the family pillar, you can't go. In unison they turned to me. You're just a girl, worthless around here, you drag your brother back. I shrank back, playing terrified. I can't, unless you give me Grandma's wooden token. The plaque looks drab, half-rotted even, yet after the apocalypse it will blaze with hidden force, one of a kind. Mom curled her lip. That dead old woman's junk? I tossed it somewhere. Cheap thing, take it if you want. Her contempt saddened me. She's both victim and enforcer of this feudal mindset, worshipping her precious son while scorning the women before her. She'll reap what she sows. I stepped forward without another word and hauled Emery home while everyone watched. In my last life plenty of people had done the same and walked away, find no reason to fear now. 2 days later Emery came to, and the other boys followed. All were frail, nerves stretched taut, as if fresh from nightmares. I knew it was Adrian's warning, trespassers spend their sleep touring hell. Next the village well began to run dry. Corn shoots yellowed in waves. Radio static swallowed every broadcast. Hounds went rabid one after another, howling until dawn. Fear hollowed the hamlet out. The few still eyeing the jade coffin quickly lost their nerve. Section 5. The mayor fetched Madame Hecate, the famed medium from 3 valleys over. The creased crone listened, then kowtowed before the coffin, tossing yarrow and chanting to speak with spirits. At last she rose, face grave. "You people have poked something big, something monstrous." The crowd blanched, timid farmers knelt and kowtowed repeatedly. From the outer ring I watched them with cold eyes, biding my time until the ghost wedding with Adrian. After Hecate's verdict, the mayor slipped a fat wad of bills into her pocket, bowing. "We acted in ignorance. Tell us how to make amends." She sighed. "Hard. That great one isn't easily appeased. A mortal like me can't do much." Mayor ground his teeth, produced another stack, and begged, "Hard isn't impossible. Save us poor folk. The village will honor you with offerings and incense money." The villagers loudly agreed. Hecate finally nodded. "Then I'll risk pointing out a road. Offer a fair maiden in a ghost wedding, the spirit might sheath his fury." Uproar. A living girl wedded to a corpse, sinful, unbearable. Every household with a daughter shrank back, no one volunteered. Spotting the shortage, the mayor shouted, "Any family willing to marry their daughter to the great power gets $10,000 as dowry. Every household in town has to fork over $1,000 as Jordan's wedding gift," the mayor announced. The moment the words left his mouth, my useless brother staggered out of the house and yelled, "My sister, let my sister do it." The villagers stared, dumbstruck. Selling off his own flesh and blood-borne scum. The scumbag, Leo, beamed at Mom and Dad. "Tens of thousands. We're talking tens of thousands. Morgan the money loser is worth that much. What a steal." He didn't even bother lowering his voice in front of me, excitement tripped over his tongue. Mom and Dad nodded, smiling their approval. In my last life I would have scrambled to escape, but reborn, I would surf this wave instead. I pretended to be terrified and stepped back. "Mom, Dad, you can't sell me out. I don't want to marry a corpse." Margaret, my adoptive mother, put on her sensible face. "It's just a ghost wedding, won't hurt you. The family gets cash and you get a cut." Harold, my adoptive father, was ice cold. "A girl has no say. Father's word, mother's match. Shut up." Leo, already picturing the money he'd blow, grinned. "Don't worry. Say yes and I'll stop picking on you." He clenched his fist, malice shining. "But if you refuse, don't blame me for playing rough." He'd beaten me a few times when I was a teen, since then I'd never dared defy him openly. I bit my lip and played the timid mouse. "I'll do as you say." All three broke into smiles. Leo grabbed my hand and dragged me to Madame Hecate and the mayor. "Let my sis do the ghost wedding. She's pretty and college-educated. The groom will be thrilled." The mayor puffed on his pipe and nodded. Madame Hecate dipped her chin. That night the town hall blazed with red lanterns, candlelight stained the sky. Villagers pooled money for a feast, eat, drink, cheer. Mom and Dad sat like sovereigns while I, in bridal scarlet, kowtowed 3 times, 9 full bows. They smiled, but I knew it wasn't for my happiness, it was for the cash. Madame Hecate produced the contract, had me prick my finger and press a bloody thumbprint, then burned the paper in front of the white jade coffin. The villagers threw together a cedar shed around the coffin and locked me inside. Madame Hecate claimed I needed quality time with my husband. Mom and Dad dumped me without a goodbye. I played reluctant until the last footstep faded, then bloomed into a grin. Only I knew how massive the thigh I'd wrapped my arms around really was. First, I chattered at the white jade coffin, rattling off my name and past. Then I apologized sincerely. Little me meant no offense, big boss. As you can see, I was forced. Please, Lord, don't hold a grudge. But since the contract's signed, I hope you won't toss me aside or I'll sob my heart out. After that I polished the jade coffin like my life depended on it, trying to grind his favorability up. He showed no hostility, so I didn't pass out and get tortured in nightmares like Leo. Soon the coffin gleamed spotless. For the next few days the villagers delivered top-shelf meals right on time, better food than I'd ever seen. Every noon, 4 meats, 4 veggies, 8 dishes total, crystal pork hock, red braised pork, sweet and sour carp, everything I loved. Embarrassingly, every night I dreamed of a man with skin like white jade and cold, exquisite features. The worst part, we were stuck in a cramped room containing only one red candle and one bed, nothing else. I could even feel his breath, his warmth. The first time, curiosity got the better of me and I pinched his cheek soft. Remembering it now, my face burns. 6 days flew by, the eerie apocalypse would arrive any minute. Ominous crimson light drowned the sky, and the wind carried the stink of blood. Beside me the white jade coffin began to stir. It rattled a few times, then nothing. I gawked, clueless. A voice drifted from within. "Could you help me open the coffin?" The tone was cool, but I caught a thread of awkwardness. It added, "The seal inside is too tight, outside help would make it easier." I almost laughed, so even Adrian could wind up this pathetic. In my last life, without me, he'd probably stewed in there for ages. What should I do? Splash black dog blood? Silence. Then, no need. Plain physics will do. Oh. I walked over, hooked my fingers under the lid, and heaved with everything I had. The lid flew off, I tumbled onto my butt. Adrian rose from the jade coffin, pale as moonlight and devastatingly handsome. I stared, slack-jawed. He looked at me without expression. "So you're the one who signed the ghost wedding contract?" I nodded dazedly. Adrian pressed his lips, gave a soft "oh," and said flatly, "I already have a fiancé." With that he turned to leave. No way was I letting this tree trunk thigh go. I lunged, hugged his leg, and gazed up pitifully. "Boss, take me in. Even if I'm not worthy, I can still be your maid, right?" I rattled off flattery nonstop. On the side I couldn't see, a faint blush colored his porcelain face. His jade slender hands clenched, his body trembled. In that cool voice he said, "Let go first." I was sure someone of his temperament wouldn't hurt me, especially since I'd wiped his coffin and popped the lid. Debts of gratitude. I doubled down. "If you don't keep me, I'm not letting go." I squeezed out 2 tears. "Boss, the world's crawling with freaks now. Abandon me and next second I'll be bones and dust." Seeing me like that, Adrian said quickly, "I promise I'll keep you safe. Now will you let go?" I released my grip and exhaled in relief. I'd finally secured myself a powerful backer. A cold glint flashed in my eyes. This time I wasn't the one who died, I would watch my bastard brother Emery rot. Adrian exhaled as well, silently stepping back. After a moment's thought he said, "I still have business to attend to, but since fate has tied us together I'll give you something that will let you thrive in the apocalypse." He produced a blood pearl. "Swallow this and you'll become a blood eldritch. As long as a single drop of blood remains, you can regenerate. If you ever meet a stronger eldritch, invoke my name and you'll be spared." I snatched the pearl and gulped it down. He studied me. "You trusted me just like that?" I rolled my eyes and said nothing. Distrust was pointless, I was just a helpless weakling. Adrian turned to leave, the corner of his mouth curving in a smile I couldn't see. In the blink of an eye he vanished. Once my transformation into a blood eldritch was complete, my sense of safety skyrocketed, even the apocalypse felt less terrifying. I stepped out of the crude cedar shed into a world drowned in gloom. Far to the northwest, columns of smoke billowed skyward, sure sign of a flame eldritch on the rampage. Those things turn everything they touch into an inferno. Humans caught inside burn from the inside out, organs first, skin last, with no relief and no hope. The soil was laced with thick, pulsing veins filled with blue-red blood. Step on one and it spears into your body, drains you dry, and leaves a husk. I remembered clearly, our family house had itself become an eldritch. It manifests whatever a person fears most and tortures them with it over and over, only finishing them off when it grows bored. In my last life Emery stole Grandma's wooden token and escaped alone. Mom and Dad knelt and begged me, soft-hearted, I used the jade amulet Adrian had given me to kill the house eldritch and saved the three of them. Now Grandma's wooden token was in my hand, and Emery would never get away. I would see exactly how miserably he would suffer. I stopped in front of our house. The door creaked open of its own accord, as though welcoming me inside. I did not step in. Instead, I bit my fingertip and flicked a drop of blood through the doorway. The blood formed a tiny crimson figure that scampered into the house. Inside, Mom, Dad, and Emery were trapped. Emery cowered behind our parents, shaking. "What the hell is this thing? Why can't we get out? That bitch Morgan always lands on her feet." She actually dodged this mess. I itched to slap him, even while falling apart he still cursed me under his breath. Disgusting. Lucky for me he was the one in the trap, and I could watch from safety. Dad, usually so composed, was frantic. With one hand he lit a cigarette that trembled uncontrollably, cursing, "Leo, stop hiding, it's useless. I spoiled you rotten and turned you into a worthless coward." Mom clutched his sleeve, trembling like a leaf. "Enough yelling, he's your son. The Sterling line depends on him." Emery bobbed his head behind them. "That's right, Dad. As long as I live our family name survives. Even if you have to die, protect me." Dad spun around, eyes blazing. "Little beast, is my life worth nothing?" They nearly came to blows. Mom sighed. "If only Luna were here, let her take the front." My fists clenched. I was always the sacrifice for this family. Emery chimed in, "Yeah, she's not even a real Sterling. If she dies 1,000 times, what do we lose?" Outside, my eyes widened. So I was merely adopted. I'd been abused not only because I was a girl but because I was an outsider. Strangely, the knowledge relaxed me. My real family could not be these animals. At that moment the house eldritch manifested Emery's worst terror, insects swarming, crawling, countless. They poured into ears, eyes, nostrils, mouths, invading every opening. Emery convulsed and shrieked like a stuck pig. Mom and Dad turned paper white, helpless. The insects blanketed them, chewing, devouring. When their screams faded, the bugs vanished, wounds slowly closed, as though nothing had happened. Then new horrors appeared, cycle after cycle of torture. Even a blood-soaked version of me appeared, demanding their lives. Emery dropped to his knees, kowtowing frantically. "Luna, forgive us. I was wrong, spare me." Mom and Dad knelt weeping. "We're sorry, we shouldn't have beaten you, shouldn't have let Leo bully you. We shouldn't have despised you for being a girl. Please, for the sake of raising you, have mercy." Their pleas were useless. After a dozen rounds of torment, my blood avatar swelled to human size. When they saw me, they gasped. "Luna, Luna, is that you?" Tears streamed down Mom's face. "You've come to save us. I knew you wouldn't abandon your family." Emery crawled over and hugged my ankles. "Please, get us out, take me out now." I smiled and nodded. "Relax. I'm here to rescue you." Hope blazed in their eyes, but inside I was ice cold. I would give them hope only to shatter it. Only this could quench the hatred in my heart. I led the three of them outside. At the bedroom door I negotiated with the house eldritch. My strength was still considerable, and the house eldritch was much weaker than I. Besides, it was already bored with its game. It granted me a courtesy and let the group leave. Emery stared at the unopened door and, pretending to snap, shrieked, "Let me out, just me, alone. Leave the two old things behind, just let me go." My adoptive parents gaped at him in disbelief. Then my adoptive mother dropped to her knees and begged me, "Let me leave, let me be the one who leaves." All three began fighting one another. I sneered inside. The baseness and ugliness of human nature were on full, vulgar display. I forced a smile. Easy, no one dies, everyone walks. At that moment the house eldritch swung the front door wide. The three stumbled out, weeping with joy. I said coolly, "Emery, step 2 paces to your left." Still dazed, he obeyed. Suddenly he sensed something wrong. He looked down. A thick blood vessel lay beneath his foot. It erupted from the ground and stabbed into his body. Emery stared at me in horror and outrage. You harmed me. His body shriveled instantly. My adoptive parents screamed and bolted. I didn't chase them, I simply watched the direction they fled, a mocking glint in my eyes. Did they really think they could escape? Ahead, a withered willow stretched out its branches and dragged the pair back, binding them to its trunk. It was a tree eldritch, slowly they would become its nutrients. I walked toward them with measured steps, feigning sorrow. Oh dear, you two should have been more careful. My adoptive mother fainted from terror. My adoptive father's lips trembled as he pleaded, I was wrong, Luna. For the sake of raising you and sending you to college, spare us. My face showed no flicker of emotion. College had been financed by my own student loans and endless part-time shifts. The family hadn't contributed a cent, and that scumbag brother of mine had even skimmed plenty off me. As for their so-called nurturing, they'd kept me like a hound and sold me out again and again. Whatever debt I owed had long been burned away. Not killing them myself was already my bottom line. I asked, where did you adopt me from? My adoptive father clutched at this lifeline and racked his brains. Your grandma found you beyond the county line. You were 6, but a bit simple. A shiver ran through him. No, not simple, just seemed to have amnesia. I froze. I had never wondered about this before. Yet now that I thought back, I truly had no memories before the age of 6. I pulled out the wooden token Grandma had left me. When my adoptive father saw it, he babbled, yes, that token was yours too. My origins suddenly felt murky. I ignored him and walked away. However loudly he called after me, I never looked back. I returned to the haunted house to search for anything related to me, but found nothing. With nowhere else to go, I stayed in the village for the time being. A week later Adrian, barely breathing, staggered back into town and collapsed into his jade coffin. The sight stunned me. Adrian was a sovereign among eldritch. In my previous life I had watched him annihilate thousands of horrors with a wave of his hand. How could he be wounded so gravely? He had shown me kindness, and I wanted to nurse him, but human medicine had no effect on an eldritch. Adrian merely glanced at me. Don't bother. It's useless. Another stretch of slumber may let me recover. He hesitated, then added, you'd better leave soon, danger may arrive before long. I blinked. What danger? He gave a bitter smile. Whatever did this to me, of course. His gaze sank into the distance. Do you know the strongest kind of eldritch in this world? I shook my head. Grudge eldritch. They are born from human resentment. While resentment lives, so do they. The more chaotic the times, the deeper the grudge, the stronger they grow. Under the coming apocalypse they are virtually invincible. I was stunned. In my last life I had been nothing but a pitiful wretch betrayed by family. How could I have learned such secrets? My thoughts tangled. I wanted to swear. I had come back only for revenge. Was I still doomed to die? Despair clawed at me. I asked carefully, will grudge eldritch kill other eldritch? Adrian studied me and broke into a faint smile. Of course. I gaped. And you tell me to run? His grin widened. One more day alive is still a day. I was speechless. Adrian sighed. There is a prophecy. The rise of the grudge eldritch signals the world's end unless the hopebringer is found and plants the seed of hope. I frowned. What hopebringer? Adrian pondered. Someone who should not exist, who should never have survived. My heart hammered. Could it be me? I was reborn. By the original timeline I should already be dead. Maybe it's me, I said. Adrian's eyes widened. He whispered, fiancé. What? I had no idea how we'd leapt to fiancé. Adrian's jade cheeks flushed. You are my fiancé. Shock struck me again. Everything felt preordained, as though fate itself had arranged it. I produced the wooden token and handed it to Adrian. Clearly it was the key. The moment he saw it, he was overcome. Channeling power into the token, he caused a sapling to shoot sky high until it became a great tree. The stench of blood in the air lessened, and sunlight seeped through cracks in the sky. This tree could cleanse malign aura and weaken eldritch. Months later I had become an ordinary human, and Adrian's strength had dwindled to a whisper. Apart from him, no eldritch remained in the world. Deprived of its source, the grudge eldritch vanished as well. Because we had saved the world, both Adrian and I brushed against the law of fate. Each of us could alter one moment in the past. Adrian left a prophecy for his earlier self. I created a 6-year-old girl and sent her off clutching a wooden token. When everything ended, we married again, but this time it was no ghost wedding. Jubilant music filled heaven and earth as Adrian knelt on one knee and pledged his life to me. Thank you for listening to today's tale. If you enjoyed it, please like and share with friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more thrilling stories. See you next time.